Welcome, Utah's Fly Corner. Today I'm going to show you how to tie my Hendrickson Nicheo. The thread I'm going to be using is a Montana dark brown 8/0. Hook I'm tying on is a size 12 Daiichi 1180. Wrap my thread back to just before the bar. Nice touch and turns. The tail I like to use on my Hendrickson Nicheos is Coq de Leon, medium pardo, saddle hackle. Nice and speckled like the naturals are. Take it to 90 degrees. Two that don't want to line up. Just going to pull off a bunch, clump. I don't care to count them. I'd say there's probably 6 to 8 fibers there easy. Measure them the full length of the tail. Off them to my side. Let the thread torque pull them up and on top. Sneak a wrap behind. Pull that up and under. Bring one on top. Tighten it up. That helps splay and lift them. Look at how they're sitting. Rolled slightly. You can always muscle them around with your thumbnail. Take one more wrap, really tighten those up. But I'll lift my tips, get those cut to length. Now the body is a typical Nicheo body, which is a dyed quill. Okay, so the quill that I use on this, I use a strip peacock quill. I dye them pink, just a slight hue of pink to them. Since it's a larger fly, I like to tie on it by the point and wrap it forward. Wrap your thread forward, tying it in. Down to the eye. I'm going to wrap the quill. Be very careful when you wrap it when you first start. Now because of the way the quill wanted to lay, I'm wrapping it opposite. Nice touch and turns. On your way down. And just catch them on, tighten them up. I go about 2/3 of the way up. I like to fold them back and tie them in. A little extra security. I don't know if you can make that out, but it's got a nice pink tone to it. It's a little hard to make out with the brighter light. But. So then the wings is siliconized polyarn made by Nicheo. I just wrap that around my thread, fold it over the thread, bring it in on top, slide it down. Take one wrap in between, see who wants to go where. I pull an arm. And just figure 8 in between. It's like making yourself some spinner wings. And I like to take 2 loose wraps and tighten them up. Anchor wrap on both wings. 2 loose wraps. Tighten them up. Anchor wrap. That'll keep them separated. Keep all the fibers, separated into 2 different wings. Now the hackle is a done. I had it here on the table. is a rusty dun. I mean a sandy dun. Sorry, not rusty, sandy. A sandy dun hackle. It's a Metz hackle. Not sure if Whiting makes a sandy dun, but I'm sure they have something of similar color. Just catch that in. Now the dubbing I like to use is just style dubbing. I take tan, brown, and pink, and I just hand blend them together, folding it. I'm just going to dub on the thread, nice and tight. For a fly this size, you need about, let's say about 3 inches or so. I'm going to wrap my dubbing in front, a couple turns. Then I'm going to figure 8 the wings. Tighten up. Bring that one turn behind. Tighten that dubbing up nice and tight. I'll lift my hackle up. Bring one turn in between, behind I mean. And then one turn right in front. I need a little bit more dubbing to do the Nicheo technique. The Nicheo technique, as I just said, is I take this dubbed thread and I make a dubbing loop out of it. Make a nice tight dubbing loop in front of the hackle. And just wrap your thread forward, nice and tight. Let it dig into that dubbing. Okay, now the hackle. We're going to hackle. Pull your dubbing loop back. Hackle. One turn. 2 turns up to the wing. Just jam a third one behind the wing there. The wing material starts getting in the way, just pull it off. Just rip it off. And one right in front of the wing. One right in front of that. And that's all I care to do in the front. Catch my hackle. When you tie off your hackle, if you have the hackle straight up, it'll prevent you from trapping hackles in front of the eye. Snip off your hackle. I like to do 2 turns on and then throw on a half hitch. That way if you bump it, it won't knock your thread loose. Wings separated. I'm going to pull my loop out of the way. I got the fly upside down here, and I'm just going to work my hackle fibers to each side. If you got any errant ones that don't want to go, you can just snip those off really nice and close. Don't go snipping a lot of them off though. You need them. And then I'm going to pull my loop up and I'm going to see how it's sitting. It's looking good. I'm going to turn my fly back over, make sure my thread's clear of any hackle. And I'm just going to pull my loop forward, turn, see how it's looking, and catch that in underneath. Hold it tight, get 2 nice tight turns underneath on it. Tighten up, see how it's sitting, looks good. Now what I'm going to do is sweep everybody up, and now when I'm sweeping up, what I'm doing is I'm splitting the loop around the eye. And I'm going to wrap back over it. It's really going to tie that dubbing loop in. And I'm going to forget about everything right now, and whip finish the head. thread snapped, and I don't know if you caught that on the camera. Got myself with the hook point. But we lift up that loop, snip it nice and close, and hold your wing. Just sweep that the hackle fibers back down so that they want to sit flatter in the zone. And you can see how that sits underneath. And with the Nicheo, you can see how the dubbing keeps the color similar to the body. That's what I really liked about doing this technique, is that you don't have a two-tone body between the abdomen and the thorax like Catskill styles do. But you still get the benefit of all the hackle, of it sitting on the hackle with the siliconized poly yarn here. The thing floats like a champ. Sometimes your yarn will be it'll be clumped together a little bit, so you just take a little dubbing brush, flare it out. You don't want it twisted up anymore. You want it nice and open. And just pull your wings together. Now I like to, because the wings are set a quarter of the way back from that eye, that little bit of extra you got to count in for the full length of the body. So you want to cut them that much further back on the tail. So about where my thumb and finger are, that's about where I want to cut them. You can gussy the wings up if you want. I usually do. It doesn't really matter though. Just cut those back ones off at an angle. And then cut these ones off a little bit on an angle going up. And you end up with a decent silhouette of a wing. Nothing overly fancy for a wing. Fish don't care too much about the wings. It's more for you being able to see the fly. Well, that's the Nicheo. This fly's absolutely great. I've been fishing it the last couple times out with the Hendrickson hatches, and it's really been a great producer for me. The best part of all with the Nicheo is no floating needed. Just a couple false casts gets it floating like a champ again. And it's a durable fly, holds up. And if you want, you can coat the body with some head cement to make it last a little bit longer. I usually do. Actually, I forgot that step in the video here, but I usually do. And if you wanted to get it on there now, I can show you a little trick, because sometimes I often do forget to put it on there. It happens, you know, as a fly tire. But just take everybody up and out of the way. Everybody up and out of the way. Obviously, it's much easier to do before you tie on the wings and go into that step. I'm good. That's the Nicheo. Hendrickson Nicheo. Like I said, past couple times out with the Hendrickson hatches, it's been a great producer for me. And the quills, I just strip them with bleach. I have a video of that. And then I dye them with red pink. And you get a nice pink quill body. But I'm Johnny Utah. Check me out on my site, www.utahsflycorner.com. And thanks for watching.